Amazon stock price is up 1,800% since 2000, but it's actually trading at its lowest price that it's ever traded at before. How does that even make sense when the stock price has gone up so much over the last 20 to 22 years? What I mean by that is that there are multiples or ratios that stocks trade at. For Amazon, a good one is price to operating cash flow ratio. Even price to gross profit is a good one. And price to sales is another way that we can look at Amazon stock as well. And so as you can see, after the sell-off, over the last, basically from 2013, because the data is really not relevant earlier than that, since the stock has just gotten so much bigger and all the numbers are so much bigger. So we're going back 10 years. The low for Amazon's price to gross profit ratio is 392. Right now, it's trading at 449, just barely above that low, and it actually hit that low recently. So it's just bounced off that low a little bit. Over this entire time frame, you can see the average price to gross profit has been 8.4. When we go down to price to operating cash flow, the low is 2007, and the latest, right now it's trading at 24.46. The average over the last 10 years has been 28.69. And again, it hit this very shortly in a very, for a very short period of time and came off of it and went higher, right? And then again, the price to sales ratio, the low 1.54, currently at 1.93, and the average has been 3. So if you're interested in Amazon stock, what I do on this channel, I'm trying to get just stock prices out of your mind. Don't look at daily stocks. Don't look at daily stock news. When we start to think about being a long-term investor, we need to look at the underlying fundamentals of the business and what the multiples a stock is trading at. What that means needs to happen for an investment to return, to have a high return in the future. Those are the things that matter. We need to have an understanding of the company and their products and the competitive market. And I go deeper into all of that stuff in my email newsletter, which you can subscribe to in the description below. But here on YouTube, I am trying to get you out of the daily trading and price movements and all that. Get out of that mindset. And let's figure out and talk about what goes into the fundamentals, the underlying business that drives stock prices either higher or lower. And so again, now I've moved over to a product called FastGraphs, which I use every single day. And we are looking at the operating cash flow on this chart. And this blue line is the average price to operating cash flow ratio since 2011. This black line right here represents what the stock is currently trading at. You can see it's a little bit off, price of $95 a share. It's at a price to operating cash flow ratio of 19.59. The average over that entire time has been 25.65. So we are currently sitting 20 to 25% under the average price to operating cash flow ratio that Amazon has traded at over the last 10 to 12 years. So the question is Amazon going lower? Should we never expect it to recover and get back up to a price operating cash flow ratio of 25? Is it going to go lower from here? What do we think is going to happen in the future? Nobody truly knows, but I'm just basing this off of scenarios and essentially assumptions, right? Well, analysts are expecting, which we have to take this with a grain of salt, but this is what Wall Street and analysts are currently expecting in terms of operating cash flow growth over the next 3 years. 65%, 34%, and then 17% operating cash flow growth in 2025, growing from $4.76 of cash flow per share to $12.39 in operating cash flow per share. That's almost, a triple between now and then. And so and this is not saying this is going to happen, but if Amazon trades back up to a price to operating cash flow ratio of 25, if that's where it's trading at, and they hit these growth estimates by 2025, December 31st, 2025, you would get a 233% total return for 50% annualized. Now, I think that's out of the realm of what we should expect from this stock, right? But another cool thing we can do is we could jump over to this chart, which it's a forecasting calculator, essentially. And we can say, okay, well, here is through 2025. We still have those analyst expectations in there for 65%, 34%, and 17% growth. What if it stays? It's trading at a blended price operating cash flow of 19.59 right now. What if it goes just a little bit lower and trades at a price operating cash flow ratio of 18.7 then in 2025? Again, you're looking at a 143% total return over basically 3 years for 35% annualized. Any investor in the world, any real investor in the world would kill for a 35% annualized rate of return. We are not talking meme stocks here and junk and junk crypto and all this crap. Like, I can't put any meaningful amount of money into any type of meme stock or crypto or whatever. And if I'm able to make money, invest money, and own solid companies for a long time and get anything like this type of return that Amazon is showing as the potential for, I would put my money in that all day over some, crypto NFT scam or some, high risk thing or something like that. That's what real investing is, okay? Now, let's say we think that these growth expectations are too aggressive and we don't think Amazon is going to grow its price to operating cash flow that fast. Well, if we just look at it's a 3 to 5 term year kind of long-term growth expectation, that actually brings it down to 16%, then 16% and 16%, and it kind of like averages that out through 2028. But let's just look over the next 3 years. And let's say it's going to grow operating cash flow that fast. And we're going to, again, look at that 19.2 price to operating cash flow ratio. Even if they grow by 16%, 16%, and 16%, way below what analysts are thinking, you would still get a 64% total return for 18% annualized if it traded at a price to operating cash flow ratio of 19. Now, let's say we just think that it's going to trade at a lower price to operating cash flow ratio with lower growth expectations than what analysts are really predicting right now or thinking right now. It's not a prediction, it's an estimation and a guess. Let's say it trades down to a price to operating cash flow ratio of 11.2. This is almost a 50% reduction, maybe 30 to 40% reduction in price to operating cash flow, plus lower operating cash flow growth, significantly lower than what analysts are expecting now. You are still looking at just a negative 4% total rate of return between now and 2025. Now, that's losing money and that's not a good thing, but this is what we call a margin of safety. This gives you downside for Amazon to miss analyst expectations and get cut in half on a blended price to operating cash flow ratio measurement, trading down to almost lower than it's ever traded at as a public company before. That might even be lower. 11, I think it's around 9 to 11 is where the lowest it's ever traded at. And this was back in, I think, 99 or 2000. You still don't lose a ton of money by investing in Amazon. Now, we just talked about Amazon stock. I need to disclose, I share my portfolio all the time here. I do full videos where I reveal my portfolio. Just look on the channel. I have $123,941 portfolio. I have put $138,000 in starting in February of 2022. The goal is to build this thing up transparently and share every step of the way through my newsletter, and then do check-ins here on YouTube if you want deeper content and deep dives into the companies before I buy them and things like that. That's where you'll get it in my newsletter. YouTube is just sharing this journey transparently still. You can see I don't own Amazon here, so I'm actually not like biased in terms of owning the stock and wanting it to go up. I actually own Meta as my largest position, which I'm going to talk about in my next video, whether or not I think Meta is trading at an insanely low multiple compared to where it's historically traded at and where I think it could go. That's going to be in my next video. So if you like this content, like the video, that helps more people find it, subscribe to the channel, and watch this next video on Meta and its current valuation right now. Let me know down in the comments what stocks you want me to check out and do reviews of in other videos.